the immortal John Hancock here, and today I got something big to talk about. I'd like to talk about the what if. What if Microsoft actually did purchase EA? And so, there's a rumor floating around that they were looking to possibly add a game company or purchase a game company, and that makes sense. One thing, I'm not here to tell whether or not the rumor is true or not. I mean, I have no idea, but it's interesting to talk about these type of things. I was a big fan of the What If comic books back in the day, and this is kind of cool where it does make sense. So my thoughts if Microsoft was to actually purchase EA and the what if. There's pros and cons to that. So I'm a big fan of seeing a game company release on multiple formats, and that's so that people that don't have a particular format can enjoy a game. And so that's one thing I enjoyed back in the day, during the 16-bit wars. There's a good chance that if you had a Super Nintendo and a sports game, that you could still get that game on another console, and vice versa for the most part. Especially with EA games, there was a lot of EA games that were on both formats. Now, there was some console exclusives, but this is interesting. So Microsoft is really kind of lacking in having some specific content for the Xbox One. Yes, they got Halo. Yes, they got other games. They got their Crackdown 3s coming out, and they have some other things. But really, if you really look at it, Microsoft's hurting with specific game content. Now, if they were to purchase EA, that would bring tons of franchises that EA owns or has companies working on. You have, Titanfall, you have the Dragon Age series, you have the Need for Speed, you have the Sims. You have currently their license, EA's licensed with Star Wars, and so to make Star Wars games, so you have that going for it. Even though the Battlefront 2 had tons of issues, they still, Knights of the Old Republic. Now look here, I got a list here. Just a ton. And that's not even, you have all the sports franchises that they have access to. FIFA, soccer, you got Madden. You got the, boxing. You got NBA, NCAA basketball games. And so the list goes on and on and on. So if you think about it, if Microsoft was to buy EA, they would have access to racing, RPG, first-person shooter, the Battlefield series. I mean, that's huge, and that would add leverage to their Xbox Game Pass, which they're pushing pretty heavy, which is pretty cool. It's a pretty cool concept. It's not for me, as a collector of physical media, but I think it's cool for people that want to play games and have quick access to things. That would really add some content to already a pretty good service. And so that's pretty interesting. The downside if, the what if, is would that mean that people that, such as on the PlayStation 4, would not have access to further EA games? Yikes, that's tough, because there's a lot of fans, even though really EA has found a home on the Xbox One, and I think it would be a great purchase for Microsoft, and I think it would be good for EA, and I don't think it would be totally great for everybody else, because there's a lot of people out there, especially people that have chosen the PS4, which is the console leader right now. They would be kind of hosed for future content. Does that mean that there's exclusivity on the Xbox One? Does it mean that games come out first on the Xbox One and then eventually on the PlayStation 4? I think sales-wise, if that did go through, and Microsoft, Microsoft did release Minecraft on multiple consoles, so it is possible that they would still release EA games if they own them on other consoles, just because it makes it generates revenue. And so really interesting. I think it's an interesting rumor. I think about the what ifs. Would it make EA better, or would it be the same? There was times when EA was like turning around, and glimpses of that were like, Mirror's Edge, a good new franchise. But, for everything that they've done great, they've actually gutted a lot of companies and closed them down. And, they've taken, a Star Wars franchise, and I think people are disappointed with what they've done, especially with Star Wars Battlefront. I think a lot of people are like, disappointed. The sales figures show that it could have sold better. I think, playing it personally, I've played a little bit of it. I haven't played a ton. It just could have been a lot better. Though I am a big fan of the Battlefield series. When I got my Xbox One S, that's the first game I played for, a couple weeks. The Battlefield 1 is a lot of fun. I know a lot of people still play it. And, I think that Microsoft would be a good company if someone was to turn around EA, Microsoft would be a good company for that. So that's my thoughts on that. I think that, moving forward, Microsoft, I could totally see Microsoft purchasing EA for all the game rights that they have, and taking those franchises, developing more games, adding some much needed revenue and potential growth towards those franchises. I was just thinking now, The Sims, Mass Effect, those games I think have a good home on an Xbox game console or PC. I'm just thinking of their Origin streaming service, which to me, I think it would have a home, and I think that it would be good to combine that with Xbox Game Pass and possibly make a good service. But I feel for all the other people that would potentially be out playing some of their favorite games if they don't have an Xbox console. Because here's the truth of the matter is, I think the Xbox One has done a great turnaround. The truth of the matter is that the PS4 is crushing it, and it's crushing it because it's doing a better job marketing it as a game console and a multimedia system. It has some great franchises, and sales-wise, the Switch is already sitting at 10 million plus. It's just a matter of time, a couple more years. The Switch may actually be outselling the Xbox One. So if Microsoft is going to spend a lot of money to purchase EA just for their gaming, the gaming franchises that they have and their distribution rights, I hope it's worth it, because the looking forward, Microsoft is probably already thinking about what is the next console after the Xbox One series. And I don't think the Xbox One X is the answer. I think that's a stopgap until the next thing gets released. And it'll be interesting to see. So, kind of a long ramble. I just want to say thank you for everybody tuning in and hearing me talk about video games. I love video games. I love talking about just about anything, old and new. And speaking of old, EA's got quite a bit of library that they could Microsoft could tap to for some classics. So I was just thinking of that. I don't know all the rights of all the games that they still own, but that would be cool if they could release some of those too. Anyways, thank you so much for tuning in and watching any of my videos. I am passionate about games. I love talking about games, and I really look forward to doing these videos. 3 videos a week, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays, typically uploading at 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. I am so blessed and thankful for people and their comments, their likes, their views. It means the world to me. Thank you for continuing to tune in as I march towards 50,000 subs. It's almost there. So I'm really thankful for everyone. It's been awesome, and just continuing to enjoy doing these videos. I have some great content planned this next week, and yeah, until then. I also have a Patreon in which, as little as $1 a month, you get an exclusive video from me. That's right, exclusive every month. This is the Immortal John Hancock. You take care.